What is going on, Grassy Knoll, and welcome back to the second ever episode of Kombosation. It is a show with not only great combos, but with great players. Today, I am joined by no other than NagataLockII. He's a 17-year FGC competitor in TO, a self-proclaimed foodie, Twitch streamer, and veteran in the FGC. Nagata, how are you?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing pretty well. How you doing, sir?
I'm not too bad, not too bad. I've been looking forward to this for a while, so I'm excited to see how this goes. We got our randomly selected teams here like last time, so without further ado, we're going to jump right into it.
Do it. I feel like I'm a fraud. I do commentary for this game all the time, and I only know how to play about 5 characters. So when we're discussing random teams, I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. I'm about to get exposed very quickly.
It definitely can be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Some people are just, jack of all trades and they can play this game. Yeah. Start off, I would like to ask this question because I don't think I've ever seen anyone ask this before, but where does the name NagataLock come from?
So I am a big, he doesn't have a J2H. I am a big professional wrestling fan. And so I've been collecting wrestling tapes for a very, very long time. Back when, there was actually things like tapes.
Okay.
So one of the pro wrestlers out of New Japan Pro Wrestling is a gentleman named Yuji Nagata. And he has 2 finishing moves. He's got the NagataLock and he's got NagataLockII. And I happen to like his finishing move, like way back when. I still do now. But I was just like, okay, I like this move, and this is not something that anybody else is going to possibly have. So let's run with it. And yeah. I've pretty much stuck with it ever since. It's just like one of those things.
That's so cool, actually. I never knew that. I knew you were a wrestling fan, but I didn't know that's where that came from.
Yeah. It's just nowadays, everybody's got like different ideas. Ooh, that's not going to work.
Spaghetti, no.
That's like based in gaming and whatnot, and just like, no, this is unique. I'm just gonna run with it and go from there.
With the amount of gamers in the world right now, it becomes harder and harder as the years go on to get a very unique name. But that one is definitely something that I don't think anyone else would pick because it's so unique.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, and the thing is, like, and you know it, where you just like, you sign up for a site and it's like, this name is taken. This name is taken. And now you're like, you're tGrass 715, 9878 54321.
Yeah. That does happen sometimes. But you're like, nope, I'm not getting another NagataLock too.
Yeah. Ooh, let's see how this goes.
I had no idea. I told you my freezer was real bad. But how did you find your way towards the FGC? I know you've been around the scene for a while, but what was really either the game or like the time period that got you into the FGC?
So it's an odd thing. So when I was in college, I basically had time between when my classes finished and when I was being picked up from like my mom, like back in the day, she would pick me up after class from like a mall. And the mall had an arcade, and I hadn't been in an arcade in a very, very long time. But I used to stop in, and I came across Capcom versus SNK 2 for the first time. And I was like, so I went in, and I was just like, I used to play Street Fighter back in the day, blah, blah, blah. And I got my ass handed to me, like badly, really badly. And I'm like, okay, well, clearly, the game has changed since I used to play Street Fighter 2. And so I started looking around, and at the time I was doing professional wrestling reviews. Like I would like get tapes and be like, okay, like this is what's going on and whatnot. And so I asked one of my readers, I was just like, have you come across, wow, our connection is so good that I have to adjust my timing.
Not a very common thing to say in Dragon Ball Fighters.
Like we're between 1 and 2 frames, and I'm missing all of my 2Ms off wall bounce because the connection's that good. But I asked my readers, I was just like, hey, I got my ass kicked in this video game. Do you guys know where I can get better? Like, is there a website for it or whatnot? And this person's like, oh, you should go to shoryuken.com. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'd never heard of it before. And I go in there, and there's just massive forums, and I find like there's locals like all over the place. Like there's just like subsections right across the world being like, hey, I just realized I'm Broly and not Goku Blue. I just realized like there's all these local spots. I've never heard of it before. I didn't know that I had a scene. I didn't know any of this kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on here. Is that how this move works? Nope, that's not how it works. Let's see what's going on. So I post up in this channel and I'm like, hey, I'm new to this game, blah blah blah. I'm looking to learn, and these, like, I don't know what they were, kids or whatever else, are just like, you're garbage. I mean, we need to talk to you. I'm like, oh, really? I'm gonna learn this game just to beat the shit out of you at some point in time. And so, like, that's how, like, competitive FGC started for me. It was like straight up spite. You know,
that's amazing. Like, that's so great. You just, like, they instantly, like, the fire was just lit under you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's so great.
You know, so I looked around for my own local, and they're like, okay, like, this is where we play. This is the arcade that we play in. And like, I feel bad a lot of times for folks who never had arcades, or now if they don't get actual locals. You know what I mean? Because like, you missed out on such an integral part of the playing experience. So I found like my own crew. There was like 5 of us that were actually, you know, serious about getting better, and we just like started the ball rolling, and it just kind of like started to roll from there.
It's definitely really nice to have people to play with when you start playing, because it, you know, like, those people drive you to get better. Because when you start to slack off, they pick you up and such. So like, I had a friend like that when I got into fighting games. It's definitely really nice. Not everyone has that, but it's something you can it's definitely recommended if you can find a friend early.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like seek out your locals wherever you can. Support your locals. Like I tell people all the time. Like, obviously, we have a great luxury in that we have online play, and the advent of like Parsec and XCloud and all this kind of stuff recently has like really changed the game on top of it. But if you can, always look for your locals.
Yeah.
You know, they are so handy.
And you'll meet so many great friends along the way just going to those events.
That is exactly it. Because a lot of people just think of it as the games. It's not about the games. It is about the friends that you make at your weeklies, at your locals, you know? Like, I've been to, like, weddings for people that I've met in the FGC.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, I love things like that. Like, I've seen, like, photos from, like, Justin Wong's wedding where, like, people are playing, like, Marvel 2 at the reception. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know? It's like one of those things, like, you build the bonds over time. Apparently, you don't have a hurt box. Good to know.
Oh, I don't know how to play this stupid character. This dumb alien.
Take what you can out of it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's just like I've been, you know, for like weddings for friends that I met in the FGC. I've like, you know, talked to them as they had like the birth of their children and like all sorts of stuff. Like the bonds that you can build in the FGC, like they go so far. It's like you said, like the Jaewon wedding is actually really telling. I can't believe I know this right now. It's really telling because it's like he's had friends in the FGC for like 20 years.
Yeah.
You know?
Being like an OG like that, that's insane.
Like, I remember meeting Justin Wong when he was 15 years old, I think. I went to the East Coast Championships 7, and he would have been a kid at that point because I was still pretty young. Because as most people know, I am a very old man now.
No.
Oh, yo, trust me, I'll take my elder statesman title. It's all good, you know. But I met like Jaewon when he was just like a skinny 14 or 15-year-old kid, and he was like a prodigy at Marvel 2, you know. And
the
like
Marvelous one.
You know, the friends he's made there are still the friends that he has like to this day. Yeah, take those plus frames on the TK kit. There we go.
Oh, I didn't have to reflect. I was holding something. But yeah, that's definitely a big takeaway from it. You know, if you're getting into the scene, it's all about the friends. That's super important. What really? I guess you've been competing for a little bit, but what really made you want to run events? Like, when did that start?
Most events are run poorly. So
yeah.
Oh, bro. I mean, like, you are a very good tournament organizer. So your perspective is both such that you're organized, but you also, and we ain't gonna call out nobody's name, but you're also gonna recognize when a lot of events that are run on a regular basis are also run very poorly, right? So when back in my day, tournaments were run in arcades, and so it's just like you didn't have the luxury of unlimited cabs, so to speak, or like any of that fun stuff. So you're like, okay, you have to make the most amount of time. I'm a masher, I'm sorry.
You are crazy for that.
I have to trust that you aren't going to do anything like wacky because you don't know how to use this character.
Yeah.
But you have a limited amount of time. Most arcades are like, you know, built into malls. So like you have to be out by, let's say, 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. or like whatever else on a Saturday. So like, okay, what do I got? You know, it's like, what can I do with this? I don't know how to currently do a super. I'm an idiot. So when I quickly realized that these things are so disorganized, it can be a better way to run it. Now, like my post-secondary education background is in business management, so this was like an easy challenge for me. I'm like, okay, I see a problem. I need to be able to create solutions. I can do this better, and I did. That's exactly what I did. I basically just took the reins from the local organizers, and I was like, hey, it's like, I really appreciate what you guys are doing, but would you like some help? And originally, like, you take the help, and then after a while, the more people realize that you're the one running it as opposed to helping it, the more they just gravitate to you.
I had the same thing when I got into TOing. It was the same thing. But yeah, I mean, now around that era, when you started going from helping to running, how quick did that turn into like the original Fight for the Six?
Oh, Fight for the Six is a relatively that's a really smart setup there. Fight for the Six is a relatively recent situation.
Yeah,
I want to win, and now I'm not paying attention. No, it's too late now. You got me. So basically, what happened was back in 2017, Red Bull was running a Street Fighter series, and they're like, we're looking for X amount of tournament organizers to like come through and run the series. So they had like 8 cities. Canada got one. It got one in Toronto.
Right.
And so I caught word of it. That they were looking for somebody, and so I got into contact with their point of contact in Toronto, because like Red Bull's obviously based in the US.
Right.
And I just arranged a meeting, and I was like, okay, I hear you, this is what you're looking for, this is the numbers that I think you can draw, stuff like that. So we had like a proper sit down meeting, and I was like, okay, this is what we're looking at. And like, okay, well, this is a really good idea, come up with a concept. And so at the time, and still to this point, like Drake was like super popular, and it's all about the six.
Yeah, he's the six god and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, okay, well, what can I do to make this happen? And I thought it over, and it's like street fight, stuff like that. What can I do? And I was just, what? We got the 6. Why don't we do the Fight for the 6? And I ran it by Red Bull, and they're like, we love this idea. I'm like, fantastic. So I took that idea and ran with it. Go to the shoulder.
No, you knew my brain was so small. I was like, maybe he's not paying attention.
Oh my god. So I took the idea and I ran with it, and started building out assets and all that kind of stuff. And once the series was done, we ran it for back-to-back seasons, and we sent players to the US for like big city tournaments and all sorts of stuff, and it was drawing really well. It built a reputation. But the contract ended after 2 years, and I was just like, well, DIP is mine. I might as well run with it. And because so many people already knew the branding for Fight for the Six, I just stuck with it.
Right.
Like there was no point in starting like brand new branding, even if it was for like Dragon Ball. It was no longer Street Fighter for Dragon Ball, because they knew Fight for the Six. Like I'm not gonna create Dragon Ball for the 6 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what game you're playing, you're fighting, right? So
yes, exactly.
You're always fighting for the 6.
Yeah, it was a total win-win to go that way. I don't know how to use Broly, which is kind of funny because like he's such a good character.
Yeah, it's right. You're like, how do you use this top tier character?
Yeah. Oh, I was about to say, you're gonna do the grab again, because I got caught by that last time around.
I love that grab. It's so cool. It makes you want to go for it. Was there a lot of time in between? I mean, like, what do you know? Like, what time frame you started running events? Like you said that you went from like helping to actually running events.
It's the transition period is probably about a year, to be honest with you. Is this gonna work? Yo, oh my god. Okay. So the first like major tournament in Toronto, these used to be called the T tournament, or basically the Toronto series. And I was like, okay, can I help? I didn't know anything about it. My first tournament, like bracket running experience, was a complete disaster. Yeah. On a large scale. Just absolute disgusting mess. I actually lost the prize pool for a moment in time, because the money was in an envelope, and the envelope like slid underneath a cabinet, and I was just like, I'm gonna have to pay out this money out of pocket, And it was just still a weird situation. Anyway, so I did that, and it was a learning experience, and it's like most tournament organizers, the first time around was the worst time around.
Yeah.
And, because you're sitting on the outside, like, I can do this better, blah, blah, blah. And then you realize you can't really do it better, because so many other previous organizers have cleared those hurdles for you, and you're only seeing the end result that you get to criticize.
Yep.
So I took that situation, like, okay, what can I do? How do I get better? And so I just did brackets for like a year, just brackets. I didn't organize, I didn't promote, and do anything like that. I pretty much did it from the ground up. And then the next year, by this point in time, I built a decent reputation as a, not a scumbag piece of shit. And
which is not as uncommon as you think in the TL world. Sometimes people come to your events and they're like, wow, everyone's so nice with staff and all the players and everybody, and like the people who own the like the venue, and you're like, yeah, that's normal. People are like, no, it's not. And you're like, oh, well, I'm glad you had a good time.
Yeah. It's so rough.
Oh man.
Oh, no switch. Okay. I did the preemptive 2H on you. Oh yes, we hit those big fists. And like the thing is, like, you as a TO, you totally get this too, because like you're kind of like sitting on the outside going, man, like how bad has it really been for you?
Yeah.
Because like I think like you and I are wired a certain way in the sense that like we don't really consider ourselves to be like crazy good at what we do. We're just doing a solid job where we can.
Yeah.
And then you realize that our solid job is somehow so much better than what most people are used to on a regular basis. I'm like, oh Lord, like the bar has been set too low.
Yeah, it definitely has. I agree with you. It
absolutely needs to be elevated. And so in that particular like situation, I'm just like, okay, I need to like make my game better before I black. Don't do it.
Oh.
That's smart.
Oh no! Gotta keep my only one tool. I gotta keep using it over and over again.
Yep. Online 6M too good.
I mean, Goku Black 6M, only thing he has, so even if it isn't good.
What a shame that this character is almost godlike, except he has no mix.
Literally what I told people when I made the video on him, I was just like, this character is so close to being amazing, but he's below that line, and he's just shit. You just gotta hold that.
Low 2L will move him from D to S, basically, his almost goes down.
Pretty much, or just make any of his special moves good. Like, they're literally all bad.
It's one of those things. But going back to what we were saying, though, it's just like, so one of those things where you're just like, okay, I can do this better. I do this better. I essentially trained myself up for a year. And then I had all the like logistics down in terms of like, how do I do this? How do I make this the best experience possible? Because that combo, no, it doesn't. And then after that, it's off to the races. And I haven't really changed, like the methodology hasn't really changed much over the last, 17 years of tournament organizing.
Right.
Online has made it easier because you have like quote unquote unlimited caps, right?
Yeah. Unlimited setups is something, as someone w's run offline events, you're like, man, this is great. Everybody can play at once. Like, should be done super fast.
You come originally from like a Smash background, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you totally get it. Like the whole concept of does that combo. I don't know how Galactic Donut does anything.
I have no idea. I'm not a GoTenks player.
But yeah, like especially in like the Smash community, if you were doing like the whole like CRT thing, then like coming across those particular stations in general is pretty difficult. So like you totally get like limited resources.
Yeah, it's funny when people are like, yeah, my grandma's getting rid of her TV, so I brought it to the local. If you guys can keep it, we're like, yeah, we'll take it. Does it have color? And does it have stereo, or is it mono? And people are like, I don't really know. I'm like, all right, we'll take it, whatever it is, we'll take it.
And then now, like the biggest concern with setups isn't really the setup so much as the connection of those setups. It's like when you think about it, it's like, because you come from like Melee, it's like you got CRTs because they're lagless. And now you go to a situation and be like, hey, what's your connection like? Are you 4 frames? Are you 3 frames?
Right.
Are you on Wi-Fi? Are you on XCloud? Like, what is it? Right? And like you have to like sort all those logistics out now. Beforehand, you had like all you had to do was sort out like the TV situation.
Yeah.
It's
definitely weird, and like I love the players who enter my tournament, and they're great people. But damn, like if you're not from the if you don't read the clear rules that are like, hey, this is an East Coast only / like United States, East Coast United States, or Canada, if you're not in this region, please don't sign up. I'm going to boot you. And then people sign up from California, and they're like, oh, I didn't know.
Bro.
I'm like, what do you mean you didn't know? It's the first line you read on the page is East Coast only.
And we don't read.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, nobody reads. Nobody reads. You need to figure out a way to implant it directly into the brain of every player who signs up for an online tournament, because they don't read. Ain't nobody reading.
Yeah,
you know, like,
reading sounds like a lot of energy.
I remember changing the font in the background on like one of my tournaments, and it was obnoxious, like super obnoxious. I mean, my bracket runner Tetsuo is just like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Did you read it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you know the rules?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, I don't even know why I read it. I'm like, "Because it looks stupid."
Yeah.
So you had to read it.
Your eyes were like, "Oh, I need to see what this is."
Yeah. God says sort of weird news sometimes.
It's not good. It's very bad. Oh, but that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll take that. Now let me ask you, since you have been running events and I know you've stepped away from the online tournament scene a little bit because, you know, you had a lot of stuff going on with your job plus COVID and a lot of, you know, world events that you had to take a step away. But if all the stars aligned, would you host a quote-unquote fight for the six major? Like a full
major?
Yeah, like a full-scale, like, international. Like a big one. The biggest you can.
I mean, like, a major is something unto itself, right?
Right.
I don't know if I would use that term. Oh, really? You're a god. Are you talking about like multiple tournament? Like, are you talking about like multiple games and like
something like a collaboration event? Obviously, not like a combo breaker scale where you're running like 20 games, but like all of the games that, you know, you've run in the past, whether that be like if you did CVS 2 and like Street Fighter 4 and 5, since you ran tournaments for that, and Dragon Ball, like something big. Maybe more on like as a regional scale, not saying like an Evo size, but something like big, like a Winter Brawl, something like that.
Are you talking about like an offline event?
Yes, an offline event.
No, that's my answer. The inclination is immediately to say yes. But running even like a regional, like forget majors, running a regional is a nightmare.
I've run one big event that was over 100 people, and I literally never want to talk about that day. Yeah, it was scarring.
So to put that in perspective, when I ran Fight for the Six, okay, those events typically drew about 250 people on a monthly basis. All right, and so like we had a good venue and all that kind of stuff, and we made it work. And thanks to like funding from Red Bull, like we made it happen, and it all worked out okay. But like oh, that's interesting. Hello, Armor.
Let's go, Armor.
Scumbag mechanic, that is. But running a regional is stressful, and more to the point, it's expensive.
It's crazy expensive. Yeah.
I think like one of the things that gets lost on the average player who's never actually been on the other side is this concept of that this is not breaking the bank on a regular basis. I think like a lot of people have this impression that TOs are just making money hands over fist on a regular basis. And I'm like, you have no idea how much in the red the average tournament organizer is on a regular basis.
Oh man, people really don't. That is like the absolute scariest thing. People are like, "Oh, you host this week and you get like the venue fee," and I'm like, "Yeah, that goes, you know, half to the venue, half to us, split 4 ways between people, and we have all this equipment we bought that we haven't paid back yet." It's like, yeah, I mean, we're making money back a little bit. Oh man,
like because everybody only sees essentially what they see is the money they just paid out, and they look around the room and go, well, there was this many people and I paid this, so clearly they just made all this money. You know, and there's no concept of the promotion, there's no concept of what the venue costs, there's no concept of the transportation to get everything around there. Like it just goes on and on and on. Like, there's so much money that goes into tournament organizing. Like I tell people all the time when they're first going to get into it, I'm like, know what you're getting into before you start, because like
you need the capital. You have to have extra available capital, because you know, the classic is like you're all set up for an event and you're excited, and day of, like, you know, 4 wires don't work, or like a whole system goes down, you lose a monitor, and you're like, I have to go to the store and buy this right now or we can't have a tournament.
Yep, exactly. You know, there are so many elements. Does this work? Nope.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Fundamentals.
I
kick throws.
I can definitely understand though. Like at first you're like, oh my god, that sounds so exciting, and then you think about it and you're like, oh my god, that's so much work.
It's so much work. Like it's just absurd how much work is entailed in this situation. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I would much rather if somebody was just like, hey, I have the capital. I need somebody to bring on for any number of roles. I have no problem with hard work. I'll take on hard work, no problem. But I do not want to be the top of the food chain anymore. Like for like an offline event.
Yeah.
It's not worth the while. There's simply too many elements. And the truth of the matter is, like, and you get this as a tournament organizer, and I think like online is a little bit nicer about it. If you run in like an offline event, and well, you ran Smash, so you totally get this, especially with the community. Like, I'm not trying to take a shot at Smash, but sometimes it's like this. You run an event and you think you've had a good event, and then you go on wherever, Smash boards or wherever, and
even Facebook,
yeah, and they're like, this event fucking sucked, bro. You know, I can't believe this. Where's my friendly station? Where's my dedicated friendly station? Where was this? Where was that? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Let me just pull the extra 4 TVs out of my ass.
Yeah.
You know, to optimize your personal experience while the other 99 people tell me how good it was. You know, and like the thing is, no matter what people tell you, the few negative comments stick in your craw far more than the, you know, any number of positive redeeming comments, right?
Yeah.
And like that stuff, like somebody goes online, they're like, this sucked. They just go to bed. You know, you're the organizer who just put whatever it is, let's say weeks or in some cases months into promotion and building and all this kind of stuff, only for someone to tell you that it sucked. You know, and you just got to hold that.
Yeah, you do. And there's nothing you can do. And it's your word versus theirs, especially if people who didn't go to the event. They're like, and then they hit up their friend. They're like, Timmy said that you know, like, so-and-so event sucked. Did it suck? And you're like, well, I don't know. I didn't really have a bad time. But if he had a bad time, something must have been wrong.
Exactly.
And then people
would never lie.
Yeah, and then people like come to your event for the first time. And they're like, yeah, I heard on Facebook that this event sucked, but it was really great. And you're like, oh, I had to, you know, make this much of an impression on this person that they'd even consider coming back after those Facebook comments.
Hey, that's how that move works. But yeah, like you totally get it. You know, it's like you have to word of mouth, even to this day, and like word of mouth has obviously changed with the way that online works. But like word of mouth absolutely still makes or breaks your event. Yeah. You know, like you can put all the work in that you want, but if you did not you know, exceed, not even meet, but exceed people's expectations, they will turn around and slaughter you. And because, like I tell people all the time, if you're there first, then you're there best. Yeah. You know, so it's like the impression they made is, oh, that's how this combo works. It's godlike. Okay.
Oh my god.
The impression that they made first, now you just have to defend yourself the whole time.
Yeah. You got to build up the layers too. It's a whole thing. Man, we're just talking about just being TOs in general. I'm just getting like flashbacks of like 5 years ago, and I'm like, damn, that did happen like that, didn't it? Huh?
Yeah, man. It's like that's why like the offline event running is something. You know, it is something. Like there's a lot of folks in like Toronto scene to this day who hate me for running organized events, like tightly run organized events, because they like, I want to go out for my 50 millionth smoke, or like I want to
or I want to get food in the middle of bracket. You're like, you DQ'd me? It's like, bro, you just dipped from the venue.
You know, and it's like, yes, that's exactly what I did, because nobody is bigger. It's supposed to be bigger than the event. Nice reversal super. Nobody is supposed to be bigger than your event, but every player thinks they're bigger than your event, especially as they move up the food chain in terms of like
that TPP, the top player privilege.
You know, and I tried to phase out top player privilege wherever I could, and Lord have mercy, did that not go over well.
Yeah, it usually doesn't.
Yeah. You know, I think like with online, it actually, top player privilege doesn't really apply nearly as much, because there's no, part of the interesting aspect of like top player privilege is the sense that, wow, I really can't hurt you there. There's what I'm looking for. Top player privilege is the investment of time, right? So like if a top player doesn't show up to your online event and they get DQ'd, they just go back to playing casuals.
Yeah, they're like, whatever, right? I'll play with the people who are in the tournament.
Yeah. But like if you got in a car and like, especially if you got DQ'd and your boys are still in, I shouldn't say boys like nowadays, but like, you know, folks that you came with, are still playing, and you have nothing to do because like you decide to like mess around, then you're gonna get vexed. All you're doing is like getting in your own head, and then you turn around and you attack the TO after the fact for like, you know, you took this too seriously, you did this. this, you get that. And you're like, no, man, it's like the event is paramount. You know, it always comes down first. The event is paramount. It's like, whether it's online, whether it's offline, whatever else. Do I give enough shit about Go Tanks to do this? No, I don't. No. I was trying to figure out if I want to pop Spark with a character that I don't use. But like online tournaments, like the same thing now. Oh, what a 3H. Get off.
Oh. But yeah, it definitely goes into that. It's a lot of I know it's for the people watching, like, it is a lot of TO talk, but like, you know, this is stuff you guys don't hear every day. People don't really ask these questions as much as you would think. So like, hearing this, if you've ever thought about running events, whether offline or online, this is like some valuable information, you know? Not to like toot our own horn or anything. Oh, you're dead.
No, whatever, toot your own horn. You're a damn good TO, Tom.
Thank you. You are also a very good TO.
I just threw this game away though. You can toot that horn as well.
Nice. I got one, baby.
We in there.
Do you see any difference between the Canadian FGC versus what you've seen of the US from traveling? Or do you think they're very similar? Because I know like some cultures like Korea and Japan, like they're very, you know, sometimes some scenes are very arcade based, or they play a certain way. Like, do you think there's something different there?
So here's the interesting thing that I'm gonna pause for a quick second while I tell this story.
Sure.
Here's the interesting thing that I found over all the years that I've been traveling. Okay, the average good Canadian player is better than the average good US player, but the average great US player stomps on the average great Canadian player. Like, there is this weird pocket, right, where when you think of like really good, let's say like Canadian Dragon Ball, and you think of like Teemo and Lukewarm and, you know, and Arxis, what's the boy's name? Alucard, and like all these kind of guys, and you're just like, okay, these guys are really, really good. Right. And like, they are going to go into a US major, and they're going to come anywhere between top 48 and like top 16. Right. And they're going to stomp on a ton of people, like, because like the US is so big, and because the talent is so spread, the talent is also, it's not as concentrated as much. So the players don't get to play each other as much. So like Toronto is like, when you think of like Canadian Dragon Ball, it's basically Toronto and Montreal. And
yeah, I mean, I hear all these guys now, because, you know, they come to the tournaments, like the online tournaments, but they're all around that area, it seems like.
Yeah, they all play together. They all have locals. They all play at each other's houses like 3 days a week. They go ballistic with each other all the time, and they elevate and elevate and elevate because they're concentrated. The population density is such that they get to play top level play all the time, right? So then they travel together as well. They travel in packs. They'll get their vans and their cars, and you'll get like 20, 30 strong out of Toronto going to, you know, things that they like. Everybody loves Combo Breaker. Canadians really love Defend the North, like stuff like that.
Right.
So those players are more often than not are going to beat the better half of, we're going to say, like, if you're going to go on the East Coast, like a Boston or like anything like along those lines. New York is dicey. I think like the top end of New York is far better than the top end of Toronto. But like, Toronto's just they're going to stomp on so many regions in the US until you get to the Kill Sages, the Sonic Foxes, the, you know, like the Nakiels, like stuff like that. And then it's, honestly, I don't think it's close at that point in time. Like, there is a separation at that point. And I think the difference there is international travel. And this is why I bring this up. Oh, wow, you got screwed and I got elevated. That sucks.
It happens. It happens.
Because the Nakiels, the Kill Sages, and the Sonic Foxes have elevated the game enough that their sponsors will send them to the Koreas and the Japans and the Chinas and the, you know, the Europes and everything like that. And so their game will always see a level that our game, or like the average, you know, North Americans game, nice to way, is never going to get. And so like you see like this weird ceiling at certain points. But like, that's how I always look at it for. Yo, I'm Broly. Look at me. I fucking hit buttons.
Oh, I was expecting the grab. Oh man,
this character's kind of stupid.
Oh, he's so stupid. You ever think that armor was a good mechanic in fighting games? Well, guess what? He's got a lot.
I'm sure they created armor at some point in time, thinking to themselves that this character can't hang because he's so big and so slow. So they gave him armor, and then meanwhile they're like, "Oh, how about we just create amazing optimal zoning tools, and then overwhelm you with the armar that you gave us?"
How about we give you tools to nullify half of the cast in neutral? Oh, Street Fighter, let's go!
That was actually insane.
Oh man, but that is really interesting. that you say that there's kind of like a weird ceiling. Like, I mean, honestly, I couldn't name really. I mean, I could not just be uninformed, but like, I couldn't name like a top 10, top 5 player in any game that's Canadian. Like, when you think about it.
I mean, like aside from Mortal Kombat, so you get like the honeybees and biohazard.
Right.
But the problem more often than not is just awareness, right? Because like most fighting games are like, ooh, that was weird. A lot of fighting games nowadays are based on kind of like, they're almost like a celebrity system. So like the US definitely, like to its credit, gives props to itself, right? Don't do it. Oh, I fucked up.
I was like, it's Frieza, who cares?
That's what I was looking for. So the Canadian scene doesn't really like big itself up nearly as much as it probably should. Am I a genius? No, I'm not. No, yeah. It doesn't big itself up, so it doesn't like get around. It doesn't like participate in nearly as many majors as it could. Like Canadians will travel to Combo Breaker, they'll travel to Defend the North, they'll travel to like East Coast stuff because it's accessible, right?
Right.
But they're not going to like every. They're not going to all these international majors. They're not going to Florida. They're not going to SoCal because it's too expensive. It's too far. So they don't get consistent top 8s, top 16s across the board. They'll go to top 8, top 16 once in a.
And some of those, even just like traveling, some of those flights are brutal. I had a friend come from Newfoundland to California with us for TwitchCon. And he's like, yeah, the flight was like 12 hours. So like that's rough. As a competitor, especially if you're only going to be in a place for, 2-3 days, like that is a big commit.
You're the best.
It's okay, you're alive.
I'm still in this. Gonna bleed the clock. Yeah. Yeah, the distance more often than not really comes into play. So flying to different parts of the U.S. to be like consistently playing, it's an investment of time, it's an investment of money, it's an investment across the board. Don't do that. You know better than that.
Is it? You can set up a 5S there that it hits even if you DP me. It's actually there. It's like an anti-DP stagger. Oh.
Where's the
Oh!
You win.
What am I doing? Never mind. I'm bad.
You're not dead, but
close to
I
it.
needed to kill you. Don't do it.
I'm doing it.
Oh my god, you did it anyway!
I'm doing it. You gotta go for those. This character sucks. I got it. If I'm not going for that, then I might. It's not even worth it.
Match 2H. It should just match 2H.
Yeah. That is.
I don't blame you.
That is something I feel like is very overlooked. I still think there are tons of great players in Canada, especially Dragon Ball, because I've seen so many come out from the online tournament scene. But you don't really see a lot of these guys traveling all over because it is much harder, and they're not given the same visibility that you said, like a lot of American players are given to even get a chance to get those sponsors,
Oh yeah, like getting a sponsorship as a Canadian, if you're looking at like a US-based company, good luck.
Yeah.
It is so difficult because like if you're a US-based company, right, you immediately are taking on way more expense and far less exposure to take on a player. He could be talented, or the player could be talented, but I totally get this character now.
You've learned Broly. See, I told you, it's not only great combos, but great players.
I have too much respect for myself to play this character on a regular basis. But it's like, if you are I shouldn't have done that. Am I the best?
Oh! Yeah, you're Broly. Of course you're the best. I'm so scared. Oh my god. No! Yeah, those American companies are taking on a lot, though.
Yes, they are, because like you immediately have to deal with potential visa issues. You have to deal with the fact that you're going to have increased costs on every bit of travel that you have. You have to deal with the fact that the player may not necessarily have the amount of exposure that even like a mid-tier US player would have, as opposed to a high-end Canadian player, because now you have to overcome the amount of promotion that the US player naturally had before you brought in the Canadian player. So like you have to account for like things like that. Oh my god, yes.
But yeah, there's a lot of like, I wouldn't say under the table, but like hidden like risks that come into that, and that's just unfortunate because a lot of there's obviously, like we've said, amazing talent in Canada.
yeah.
But like it just unfortunately sometimes just never sees the light of day. And
For
it's
sure.
just frustrating.
Like I would love to see Iceberg get a sponsorship deal. Love to see that.
That man's crazy. Shout out Iceberg. That man's crazy.
You know, like he's a nut in the best ways possible. He's a really good guy. He doesn't screw around. He's always nice to all of his community that in his stream community.
Yeah.
He shows up on time for all of his tournaments, like you would know, because like he enters, grassroots like on a regular basis, and he's always in there. And like he is the exact kind of guy that you would like to see if you are, looking to like create a sponsorship deal. Man, your microdash out of the corner is so smart.
I'm just trying to run away, man. I'm like, it's 3 of them versus 1 of me, and I don't know how to play this character. His like buttons don't work. His JM's so bad. It's so inconsistent.
Yeah,
It's so weird.
But like when you look at like a person like Iceberg, if you want to like take it to something a little further, not just say like a Canadian, but let's say you are in the middle of Idaho. Okay.
Right.
And you're a really, really talented player and you have no competition offline and you're only playing online. You are running the show online. There's nobody that's seen you.
Yeah.
Right. Because like the thing that people need to understand when you talk about sponsorships, right? The people need to understand is that you are a billboard. That is all you are.
Yeah.
Like, and the quicker that you understand that you are a billboard, the quicker that you understand how like the industry works, right? So if you don't have exposure, right off the bat, your billboard is immediately smaller than the next person's billboard. Am I going to look at you, to use like a metaphor, am I going to look at you on the side of the street? Am I going to look at the next person on the side of the street? Because they're a billboard. Don't do that.
That's not too actual. The ground one is. I'm learning.
I'm going to look for the bigger sign, right?
Right.
So your talent may be that it's just like, okay, well, I want to buy burgers. It's like my burger is better than your burger, but guess what? I can't get to your burger, so I'm gonna buy McDonald's.
Yeah,
and so like you go from there.
That's a great analogy, honestly. I super dashed. I'm getting hit by this.
I learned last time.
No! Oh no! I'm getting exposed. Yeah, it definitely comes down to that, which is unfortunate. You would love to see industry standards change, but those things take a lot of time. And
well, ooh, that was interesting. What a whiff punish! Don't do it. Oh, you did it. Oh. I was waiting for another 6M. I was mashing 2H. I'm not even gonna lie. That big dome piece of Gotenks. There's no way to mash 2H there.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so like, it's just one of those like really, really big, difficult spots for like a lot of players. Oh my god, you're the best.
Oh, I'm the worst.
Don't expose me to 2M more often.
Honestly, it's again, what does my character have? What am I supposed to do? I'm nuts.
Oh
my brain sometimes it ticks up a little bit. It gets a little swollen.
How do you fit the 5 head in your doorway? What you just did to me right there? That was insane.
I gotta hold it up sometimes.
6M backdash level 3 super. What a god.
Oh man.
Nah, not twice. Not twice.
I think I might be blocking. Let's see if the air dash came out.
Right.
Oh, I'm a jackass though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because Broly.
Yeah, I mean it'd be like that. But
so like the thing is like to the point about like players and sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. One of the things that like players really need to be paying attention to now is that like you can't just be a player, right?
Yeah.
Like that concept is lost on a lot of people because they're just like, well, this person comes top 8 at every major ever and they don't have a sponsor. What's the deal? It's like, okay, well, what's their social media look like? Well, it's full of racist, homophobic, anti-women posts. Fantastic. Great start. I'm like, okay, well, what's their Twitch channel look like? Oh, they don't really stream on Twitch. It's like, well, why don't they stream on Twitch? Well, it wrecks their concentration. I'm like, okay, well, how am I supposed to see them if they don't stream on Twitch? Well, they're like, well, they would stream on Twitch if they got the sponsorship. I'm like, no, maybe they should stream on Twitch now so a sponsor has something to look at before they dump money into you. But like most of the player base, they have it backwards. And then it turns into like, oh, I don't want to be a sellout before I need to be a sellout. I'm like, how about you just get it, how about you get some work?
You gotta get the ball rolling. Things don't just come to you. I mean, not unfortunately, but like that's just how the world works, You have to put something in to get something out.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna be like, oh my god, it's Evil Geniuses. I know you won a couple locals. Like, would you like a full-time salary? We're Evil Geniuses. Someone's like, I can't wait for that to come. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about, man?
I'm all about it. I'm your biggest fan.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't work that way. This character's stupid.
He's something. I'm having my struggles over here, but I'm still having a good time, so it's all good.
Oh, for sure, for sure. You know what I mean? I just like shooting the shit. You and I don't get to play each other too often. Like not offline at least. Usually I like to come in like, hey, how's it going? And you know, it's like want to play some games, and it's like, yeah, sure. You know.
Yeah. It's sometimes on stream it's just like I don't know, with me, it was like for the longest time I felt like I was the ring match guy. Yeah. And like people were just like, bro, no rings today? Are you kidding? No rings? No rings? And I'm like, dude, can I play once in a while? 'Cause I don't really get to play in the ring matches.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm just getting.
How dare you play Super Mario Speedrun today?
Yeah. It's, dude. Some people are like, no Dragon Ball? Guess I'll see you tomorrow. I'm like, what the fuck did I do to you, man?
Best support of all time, right there.
Yeah.
How dare you enjoy yourself on stream?
Yeah,
that is not how my world works, bro. I'm here to watch you host a lobby for me.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't hit. Oh no.
You're the best. I should know better than that.
It is interesting, but I completely agree with you that like like my basis, like even like outside of school, what I like I really am really into marketing and stuff like that, and just like gaming meta and stuff like that. It is a lot harder to market those kinds of people. That's why those Canadian players don't get the love they deserve, and that is unfortunate. And like I said, like I don't know if it's the industry has to change or the culture, but something does have to change if you want to see that in a different light.
Honestly, like my perspective is very much on the side of this is on players to do a better job. There's not really much restricting the player base from expanding. Like they hate the word, branding,
right?
But they hate that word. But the truth of the matter is that if you want to get anywhere and make money in this industry, in the gaming industry, competitive industry, whatever else, don't do it.
I was thinking about it, but I didn't.
No, the way you were jumping.
I was like trying to turn my brain back on. I was like autopilot, and then I was like, wait, no, I shouldn't.
You can always tell when people have like shenanigans in mind because the flow of the match it gets altered because their brain is churning on what kind of shenanigans they want to do. So I see you jumping in the corner twice. I'm like, you're gonna do something wacky.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like oh, EX dive kick full screen. Like that sounds like a great idea.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm a very big firm believer of the play. It's on the player base to. Black and Donut sucks. Oh, he has an auto combo. Of course he does.
Yeah,
oh, that's how that works. Okay.
We'll take that.
Because like I look at like myself, right? Like I am not a good player. You know what I mean? Or maybe I'm good and I'm not great. Whatever. Everybody's got weird rules for that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't consider myself to be that good a player. But my channel and like your own channel, especially like when you're running like grassroots, like you draw really good viewership within like the Dragon Ball sphere, right? And it's like, okay, well, why are you drawing 80 on a Wednesday when like a quote unquote top player, unless you're like a top with a hook or like whatever else,
right?
Like guys where it's like, I'm godlike and they have like 4 viewers. It's like, well, really? Well, do you promote your stream at all? It's like, nah, why would I need to do that? I'm good. You know, and so you look at stuff like that and like, okay, well, you look around like, why is this not working the way that it should? And more often than not, it's laziness, and it's just like straight call out. You can call it whatever you want, but it's like,
right,
that still doesn't work. Effort is lost on a lot of players depending on what it is they want to do. It's like you have a player who will put in 12 hours of training mode and can't put in 12 seconds to tweet out that they're in training mode.
Yeah, it's oh man, it's definitely lost for some people, and like I definitely agree with you. This is actually like, I know we've stemmed this conversation so far, but like this is just like such a great talk on just like how marketing in this space kind of works, and how like most of the part, like the people at the top succeed because they put the work in for the most part, they put the work in to put there. Like you have guys like Sajam who are like freelance commentators because they put the work in. They do like all this stream work, all this promo work. If someone's like, hey, I want you to come out to so-and-so event, he's like, yo, if you pay me, I'm out there. Like I'll do whatever, work 4 days. Like he does ad reads and stuff like that. People like that succeed because they are, you know, doing the work. People just don't understand that.
Yeah, they only see the end result, which is really unfortunate, to be quite honest with you. When you only see the end result and you don't gain, oh, that's man, see, A kick is ridiculous. If you only see the end result and you don't understand what went into it, then the idea of putting in that work is kind of lost because like you're lacking perspective. Oh, you came over the top. What a sicko.
I was expecting a mash there on that drop, to be honest. That's why I was like, I need to get out of here.
I may be dead.
Oh, no. Freezer buttons don't work. Oh, no. Not like this. Wait.
Oh, I've messed it up.
Goku, what are you doing? Don't do it.
Oh, you're the best. You're an actual god. You're an actual god.
Oh, okay.
Not anymore though. Now you're not a god.
Yeah, I lost the status already. Oh, the worst feeling in the world. All the way at the end of the match and never leveled up. Actual worst feeling.
No.
Yeah. Only character with like a real true install. Sadly. Let's hope Roshi. Let's hope for Roshi.
High low, maybe throw.
I take that.
Yeah, safe jump setups. So yeah, like the work is the key, and like when I look at like I'm not gonna try to like replug like your own content while we're on your own content, but it's like when you take a look around and like, oh, that doesn't work, son. When you take a look around and you look at yourself, and I understand like where you came from, and no understanding that you come from a marketing background, it actually makes like far more sense. You're very digitally diversified, so you've got like your Twitch channel and like your YouTube channel is like starting to like, you know, gain some momentum, and you're consistently like on your social media. These little things all add up over time, and
they really do.
Like, yeah, like they increase like your brand awareness, your brand power, whatever you want to call it, and in turn, like the influence that you can draw in terms of like, you know, picking up product or picking up promotion, like whatever else. Like you and I had a discussion about like, how did you just randomly end up with like razor sticks and like razor sent it to me, you know? And because it's like the brand awareness was strong enough that I could go to Razer and be like, hey, I'm running a tournament series. You have product. And for those of you who do not understand how promotion works, product is by far the cheapest thing that any brand can give you for like maximum yield in terms of promotion. So it's
you'll get product more than you would actually. You're more likely to get product than you would actual money. Always.
For sure. Are you kidding me? Money is like straight up gold for a marketing department, but if you can give them product, we'll give you 5 sticks. I ain't giving you $5. I'll be giving you 5 sticks. You know, so like that kind of stuff, you have to understand like going in, and then like you can go from there. But like, don't do that.
I was kind of just. I feel like everywhere I went down there, I was getting a spanking. Oh man. But yeah, that's
No, I'm crap.
Oh, I literally super dashed way earlier, but I got air dash. Thank you, Dash Macro. I appreciate you.
Boom. So it's like it's one of those things where it's like everybody has to understand. If you want to be a player, be a player. If you want to be a player that is seen, you need to be seen first. You have to put in the work first. You know, you need to put in the Twitters and the YouTubes and the Facebooks and the Instagrams and the like. It goes on and on and on because like the world is
the TikToks and this and whatever social media app comes up next. You know, what you got to be on top of it.
Oh yeah, for sure, right? So like, if you're willing to put in the work, then wow, Goting's hitbox is really weird for 2H. If you're willing to put in the work, then good things will come with it. Don't do it. Oh, that's what I was waiting for. The 6M. You went 2M first.
Woo.
Now I'm scared of the dive kick. Oh, you went God Slicing instead. Like that's probably like the biggest lesson for every single player. If you're listening to this right now, you're trying to figure out like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I'm going to tell you right now, the first thing you need to do is take a look around, be like, how many ways can I see? That is the question you need to ask yourself. How many ways can I see? If I can only see you through a Twitter, then you ain't got enough.
Yep.
I'm telling you straight up right now, you ain't got enough on you right now. Hey, I'm starting to do it.
See, this session's really grown you into the Broly player you always wanted to be, right? Please hope this button didn't
I've
come out.
devoted my entire life to this character. It's all coming to fruition now.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't pop it. There it is.
Now I'll pop it.
So like take a look around. If you only have one means, two means, whatever else, how many other means can you achieve? How much work would you need to put into them in order to get a yield that you feel is like best? Do you want to have 10 followers on Twitch? Do I want to have 20? Do I want to have, get off me. That's what I want to have. I want you to get off me. You know, figure out the best ways to be seen. All right. Let your skills will always be there. As long as you don't let them dull, your skills will always be there. But the awareness that you need to generate is not there and will not be there regardless of how many top 8, top 16, top whatever, especially in the world of COVID where everything is online and not every brand is staring down the face of every weekly or every regional or every online whatever.
Right.
You need to be able to create the awareness first and then be like, hey, you know, I was on Grassroots on Wednesday at a really good showing. Here's the footage. And it's like you post on your Twitter and you're like, hey, now it's out there. Now I can post this clip on Instagram. Now it's out there. Now I can, you know, I can put together a highlight reel of my performance. I can post it on YouTube.
Right.
Now it's out there. Those are all new eyes on different platforms that are seeing you rather than just seeing you on the original platform, in this case, a Grassroots tournament, that they may or may not have seen beforehand.
Yeah, it's man, if you're a budding player, there's this is like become a full-scale podcast at this point. Like there's so much information you could take in. Like honestly, we are dropping bars of knowledge. It's insane, actually. And by the way, just not to be that guy, but to be that guy for a second. Mm-hmm. Every player that wins the Grassroots, you know, when we put the highlights up, you know, their character is in the thumbnail. They're in the tags. Like, if you look up the character, like Lucar won last week, like, if you look up Lucar Grassroots, like, he's gonna come up, like, on there. Mm-hmm. Like, so, like, you know, we're putting your name out there. You gotta do the rest of the work, you know?
Well, I mean, like, even like the concept of like that's like deep dive stuff, but like the concept of like tags and like search engine optimization and all this kind of stuff, like that, it goes like over so many people's heads.
Yeah.
And so it's like, because they're just like, they'll put out a video and then like, okay, well, you put out a video. Oh, did that work this time? Yes.
Finally, an hour later, we got it going.
We have a bread and butter. But like, so like the concept of like tags is to like embed a particular way for, let's say like YouTube, for its algorithm. Is this going to work as a reset? Yes. Okay. For its algorithm to be like, so it's like, okay, I want to watch Lucar. I'm like, okay, well, do you have a tag for Lucar? This character's stupid. I can't believe I just smashed that out. I'm like, okay, so like Lucar wins the tournament. tGrass goes in. He's like, okay, if Lucar's not in the thumbnail and I don't have his name in my tag and I have like, I can't believe I wrecked that at the time.
I think
and I don't have his name in like Grassroots, you know, 47? Was it 47?
Last week, yeah, it was 47.
Yeah. If I don't have any of that in there, you may be able to find him, but the algorithm that YouTube uses, like the program that they use, is not going to find him nearly as much. Can you find him on page 1? Are you going to find him on page 11?
Yeah.
Right? So like that's like the difference maker, right? So like little things like that, and like SEO and tags and stuff like that, like most players are never going to pay attention to it. But folks like tGrass in this particular situation, like they're going way the extra mile. Is that a string? Probably not. Don't do it.
Okay. I don't think it was. I think there was a gap, but I was like, I'm gonna sit and block for once.
Because like that 236S cannot be. No, that's not gonna work.
No. You know, if you would have 2M'd, you would have whiffed, right?
Yeah.
Gotta know that. How many people go to like 2M punish and Goku block level 3 and they go right under, and I'm like,
I know better, bro. I know better.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think it's like actually crazy. Like, as a small tangent, but like, I think it's crazy you talk about SEO because like, that's one of the main things I've been like, you know, researching. While I've been going out of my way all my free time. I'm just learning how YouTube works and the platform and the algorithm, and like, oh my god, SEO is so important.
It's so important, man. Like, and this is like things like researching search engine optimization, because we didn't actually like flesh out what that actually was when we were talking about SEO. But fleshing stuff like that out is what big companies pay other companies to do for them, because they don't grasp that kind of stuff. So like when you talk about like doing the research, that's so smart. There goes my Gohan, already lost this game. If you're doing your own research, like it's critical to be able to like set yourself apart from. Oh, that's not a thing.
Oh.
There we go. EX Miracle Hands is definitely plus frames. But that's the kind of stuff that you need to do to set you apart from the pack. You know, if you get, you know, two different tournament organizers, two different content creators. This time I was waiting. Fucking Frieza. If you get two different content creators and one has got the little things like that, they're going to jump out way ahead. You know, you can actually put out the same content, identical content, but if one understands how SEO works and the other one doesn't, good game, peace out. Like, you're always going to be behind.
So I got that reference. I got that little good game, peace out. Rollback netcode. Just throwing that out there. Shit. Yeah. Oh my! This cough is so weird.
You have that looked at.
Yeah, I probably should. You know, I need my doctor and Bandai to really look at that.
Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, we've talked about like so many good things. Like as a creator, as a player, as an organizer, like. I have no idea what I'm gonna name this episode now because there's just like I'm like, if you want to start in the FGC, click here. It's literally gonna be a. If
you want to be a creator in the FGC, you know what I mean? There's players everywhere, and don't get me wrong. Like we're talking like the way that we're discussing it, because especially as tournament organizers, the kind of people that we're dealing with are competitive. So like they're going to get the most out of this. But like, you know, there's nothing wrong with just wanting to play the game and enjoy yourself and all that kind of fun stuff. So like, you can like take anything like this, you know, in the sense of like, I have to do this and I have to do that.
There's completely different levels to it. You know, everybody has whatever pace or, you know, how serious they want to play.
Yeah, but if you've got your eye on a bigger prize, you know, where your skill is in turn going to create awareness, which in turn is going to get you a payday. That's plus frames. I don't know why I hit a button. Get you a payday, then yes, you are, and I say this to you in the general sense, everybody that's listening to this video, to this podcast, however you want to go about it, is we live in an era of the side hustle. And it is really important to understand that not only do we live in the era of the side hustle, but we have never had more tools to increase awareness for your side hustle than we have right now. You know, so like you have to put in the work. Like I posted a meme on Instagram, literally this morning, and it says your 9 to 5 pays your bills, your 6 to 12 enhances your skills. Yeah. And it's like, that is how you always need to look at the world. It's just like, okay, I put in the work, I paid my rent, whatever else, get off me.
Oh,
that.
Frieza's assist is so bad. Why is it so far away? It's so confusing how to use it. But yeah, that's a real thing. The side hustle is honestly the way to make it. Until your side hustle becomes your main hustle, it could be potentially a career depending on what you're doing. You know, those are all very real things to think about.
For that.
You know, we've talked a lot about content creation and, you know, just fighting games in general. But like, you know, what do you do outside of fighting games? What are some of your, you know, your Sundays? What do you do?
I'm an adult on Sunday.
So day drinking?
That's my Saturday.
Oh,
so basically, like during the week, for people who are actually unaware, during the week, I work for like a major telecommunications company. I'm a project manager by career. So like when I wrap that up, Twitch 4 days a week, and then the rest of the time, like my spare time it's changed over the years. I always make sure that my Saturday is my day. You know, I see my friends, I see my family.
That's nice.
You know, see my partner too. You know, like during COVID, obviously that becomes very difficult as well. Yeah. But it's like one of those spots where I have like the truly one day is mine. It's Saturday. Where it's just like I do like my Just Chatting stream, which I don't consider to be work whatsoever. It gives me an opportunity to get caught up with the people in my community. My Saturday is just like one of those things where like I come in like, hey, how's it going? What'd you have for breakfast? What's your weekend looking like? And I talk to whatever, there's 20, 30 people. And then I don't consider that to be like work by any means of the imagination. It's probably like my favorite day of like the streaming week. But then after that, it's like, yeah, I try to get outside. Now that things, well, depends on where you are in the world. I try to get outside whenever I can. I try to get tGrass off of me so I can do this combo.
That's fair.
And I'm gonna do this anyway. it's really important. Even like when things were like really, really bad with COVID, I try to like just get outside and like have a walk, just to like get some air for the best. Because like otherwise, like if you're stuck in the house for like really extended periods of time, it's really, really bad for your health.
Yeah.
Like every which way possible. But you know, I try to go out every Saturday. I really, really enjoy nice food. Really nice food.
I know a big thing that you talk about is like you're a foodie, you like food question of the day in your stream, and like you're one of those guys. Like, well, I know we both went to TwitchCon at the same time. You know, one time we did meet, although it wasn't passing, we did meet. You know, I know you love to take the pictures and stuff like that. You like,
like
you go ham with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and like I live like a really, really, really simple life, like a really simple lifestyle, like by choice, because I really enjoy spending on experience. Like I'm a big fan of like build experiences, don't buy stuff. So
that's great outlook, honestly.
You know, and like it's over time, like as I've gotten older, like that outlook has like changed a lot. Oh my god, I really wish I knew how to do happy birthday combos.
It's good. His happy birthday is actually kind of suck a little bit. It's okay, beat my freeze up. I don't need this piece of garbage.
I don't know how to finish that off. So it's like I will like find a spot, and both myself and my partner are like very much into like experiences. So like sometimes she'll be like, hey, I found this place, you know, like we're looking at like a $400 night. And I'm like, okay. You know, like there was one time, like a friend of mine, she's like, I want to get sushi. I'm like, okay. She's like, I want it from like the best place. I'm like, where is it? She's like, Montreal. I'm like, okay. And I'm in Toronto, so it's like, it's a decent drive or a little bit of a flight. And she's like, I'm like, you want to go to Park? Park is the name of the restaurant. She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And we got on a plane and we went to Montreal so we could eat sushi.
That's awesome. That's like that's great. Like, but those make long-lasting memories, you know.
That's the thing, right? It's just like you want to like build the experience. Like I'll stay home and eat like fucking 99-cent ramen and then turn around and like fly somewhere so I can get $300 ramen.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's the thing that I want. It's the experience that I want, and you know it's not for everybody. That is not a good look, sir.
I was hoping to catch you sleeping at the wheel or 2 weeks earlier.
You got the gift of gab, you know what I mean? So you gap and play. Meanwhile, I'm getting punished for just saying that right now. So yeah, like my biggest hobby, more often than not, if you were to call it that, is to just build out really fun experiences more than anything. It's like more often than not, it revolves having either somebody you really care about or a few friends you really care about, sitting around a table, eating something delicious, drinking something that's going to have you stumble out at the end of the night, and just like having a great memory to take from, you know? And like, that's like how I keep doing that like in general, to be honest with you. It's like, enjoy everything that you can while you can. Like life is short. A few years ago, like my dad passed, and it taught me a lot of like life lessons, you know, about like what I've been doing with myself, what I've not been doing with myself. And like, one of the things was just like, I spent far too much time working and acquiring things rather than enjoying life, you know? And so like my outlook has changed a lot, and in doing so, I was just like, okay, you know, just like what's out there, what can I see, how can I see it, who can I meet, who can I talk to? It's actually a big reason why I'm so into Twitch. Like, you know, having this conversation right now because like I got into Twitch and I was like, hey, these people are really cool. They share the same interests, like stuff like that. So it's like that's like the real origin of like Twitch for me, is like I wanted to make more friends.
That's how that was the same way. The same way. I was like, I want to meet people online, and we could just like, you know, shoot the shit about whatever, like literally whatever, and like, you know, play games while doing it. Because who doesn't love some good old video games sometimes?
Yep. You know,
I love that outlook. I love it, honestly. It's nice to hear like these things about like, you know, outside this this area, I guess, because you know, most people are just like with fighting games, like fighting games are my entire life, and like I wake up every morning and I practice air dashes, and I go to bed and I practice, you know, Korean backdashing or whatever game it is, you know. But like it's nice to have things outside of fighting games. You could love fighting games and it could be your career, or like, you know, being in the scene is one of your favorite things, but like, damn, it is nice to have a life outside of that, and that's so important. Did he just whiff? What?
You think so much more as a result of it, right?
Yeah, you do. You really do.
You know, like even like when you look at like people who like play like competitively, like some of the best memories that I have in in my 20s was cramming 7 guys into a van and traveling to some place we've never been before. One day I'm gonna hit that combo. Traveling to a place we've been before, meeting people that we've never come across before, playing games in a really hot and sweaty arcade, and then eating like bad Korean barbecue.
What is it with the FGC and the KBBQ, man? These people are fiend.
Because the FGC is like, no, we call it like it is. You know what I mean? FGC is mad poverty, all right? So like FGC is just like, okay, I got a little bit amount of money and I got an empty stomach because I ain't eat all day because like I'll stay hungry when I'm playing, right?
Right.
So it's like, okay, I got $10, I got $15. Where can I get all the meat that I want, even if it's gonna put like pains in my stomach later? Korean barbecue, hot pot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
I never really thought about it that way. But like, I know going to like big Smash events, people are like, "Yo, we trying to come get KBBQ after and everything." I'm like, bro, there's like a Five Guys next door. What's good with you? Like,
yeah. But it's like you can spend $10, $15 at Five Guys and get something good, or you can spend $15 and like eat yourself stupid, and they're never gonna kick you out as long as you keep eating. So you can spend the rest of your night there until you're ready to go home, or like go to next person's place to play like late night casuals, whatever else works for you. That's why the FTC like lives off of like KBBQ and like hot pot and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's all economics.
That's great. Honestly, I love that. Going back to the fighting game spectrum though. Is there anybody like really you're nuts, all right? You're nuts. What compliment do you want me to say besides that? Like your brain is huge. Is there anyone like you really pull inspiration from? Like, is there any like, I guess, I don't want to say creator, but someone that's like put you in this position, or not put you in this position. I'm really wording this badly. Is there anyone that like you just pull the inspiration from because you were like, oh, they do that, but I wanna do something like that because they do something good for the community?
Like within Twitch?
Not Twitch or fighting games in general. Is there anyone like?
Well, within the fighting game community, the easy answer and probably the most obvious answer is Rick, the Hado. He runs Combo Breaker.
Oh yeah.
Rick he's been in the scene. God, he predates me, which is saying something because I'm old. But like he's been in the scene a long time. He took over from the Ultimate Fighting Game tournament from Keats, who now works for Iron Galaxy now. But like Rick takes over from Keats, and he takes a really UFGTX was the most well-run fighting game tournament I've ever come across in my life, bar none. It was so smooth. I was like, my goodness, I'm a terrible TO after going to this thing. So Rick takes it and runs with it, and he is given a home for every game. And we aren't talking about like games of like
everything.
Resurgence of like Skullgirls, right? Skullgirls was dead in the water. And then Combo Breaker made Skullgirls its major, and it gave its people a purpose. And they still play this to this day, despite the fact that it's had developers kind of a weird deal sometimes. You know what I mean? But whatever, they don't go fuck. Mike Z a long time. He fucked up anyway. So it's like he was given those people a means to like find a place to play. And that is not something that should be taken lightly. When you've given a community a place to play that they may not have had beforehand, never ever take that lightly.
Yeah.
Because it's like they don't have a home, and everybody is looking for that place that makes them comfortable, that they can go around and be surrounded by people who are like-minded in thought process, in skill set, all that kind of stuff. And so Combo Breaker has given them that avenue to do just that. So I give like Rick all the props in the world. Oh, that's an interesting reset. I'm gonna try to flesh that out. So like offline, definitely Rick. I think that Rick sets the bar, to be quite honest with you. The Hado absolutely sets the bar for what a tournament organizer is, for what an event manager is. His staff are dedicated. They love him.
Yeah. He just seems like he runs like he just cares top to bottom. I feel like that's what you just see from him rather than everyone else. Absolutely. So like shout outs to Rick in like that regard. Online, it's fascinating to see because like Twitch is, and I'm gonna say like Twitch specifically, but like don't do that. Oh wow, I want stuff when I can do that. You can't stop me. You can't stop me.
You're the best. Online is like a mixed bag because so many people have so many ways to run a great stream, So like the original person that got me into Twitch, ironically enough, somebody that I really don't hang out with any longer, was a guy who was just like, I didn't know anything about Twitch. I knew Twitch in the sense of like, it was the place where I got to watch majors. That's how I knew Twitch up until, we'll say 2016. That was a place where Team Spooky would go to, you know, some place in the middle of the US, and Team Spooky was the guy who was like broadcasting Marvel or broadcasting Street Fighter or whatever else, and I watched it on Twitch, and when Team Spooky was done, and you know, and you're all free now, I turned off Twitch, right? So my friend comes on, and he is variety streaming. He's like, oh, you should watch this person, watch that person. And he's just like, he's linking me to like some random person who's like playing whatever, like Kirby's Adventure or something. I'm like, why do I care about this? You know, like, why do I actually care about this? He's just like, just watch and like just interact with the people that are there. And so I did, and like that's like what really like got the ball rolling. Are you dead? God, like
got that limit break damage, baby.
Well, yeah, we take those.
Definitely.
You know, yeah, we're gonna pop that now, get my blue life back.
Ooh,
so I look at like him, and despite the fact that, you know, we don't get along at this juncture, he is an inspiration in a lot of regards because watch your feet. He's an inspiration in a lot of regards because like he showed me so many memes in terms of like, how do you play? How do you want to play it? Who do you want to interact with? What companies do you want to talk? Oh, you're the best. Are you the best? Am I still in Spark though? So I'm gonna get that all back. Yeah. Okay. Yo,
yes!
Can you clip that? I know this is an interview, but you clip that.
Let's go. That's the best Frieza combo I've done all day.
If I was on stream, I would end my stream immediately and I would close my channel. Like, oh my god, I would never think that. You're such a DJ, I respect it so much.
I pulled my iceberg out there.
Yo, for real. Iceberg hits buttons no matter what.
Yeah. Oh man.
You know, so it's like I took an inspiration from him. You can like honestly like it almost sounds like a generic answer, but like you can take inspiration from every single person that you watch on the platform. Right. Because it's just like everybody brings a little something different to the table. Is that a combo? No, it's not a combo. Fuck. Everybody brings a little something to the table, and it's like some folks will like talk with me and it's like, oh, I like what you do here and I like what you do there. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, it's like, where did you come up with that? I'm just like watching Twitch. It's like watch like different stuff. Like there are times where like I'll go into channels and I don't even say a word. I'll go into like a random Dragon Ball channel. I'm like, okay, you know, what are they doing? I can't believe this guy's hitbox. What are they doing? How can I make my channel better as a result of it? And so like I watch it and I'm like, okay, this is cool, and they do this and they do that. I'm like, okay, and like I can take like a little something here and a little something there, and like, okay, let's move along. Or if it's like a really enjoyable experience, more often than not, it comes down to engagement. Stick around, or I'll follow, or I'll sub, or like whatever else, you know. Like for like Dragon Ball streams, like I look just like sit back and I watch your stream on a regular basis, and whenever, you know, Anti-Venom is up at a normal hour,
he's been real DJing recently, right? I've been seeing him like 3 a.m. he's on. I'm like, damn, dude, like what are you doing?
Like I am up at 5:30 in the morning to start my day at work, and he is typically online, and like you should sleep now. You know, but I respect his hustle because like the thing with when you look at like we'll take an example of Anti-Venom, there's something that can actually be gleaned from his degenerate status. It's the fact that he is most likely one of the few North Americans that is streaming overnight. So every person who signs off anywhere between, let's say, at least normally sign off between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. How many people are on there right now? Anti-Venom's on there right now. Let me bring my community over to you. And so he is able to essentially siphon so many communities that that nobody else is touching because they simply everybody else has gone to bed.
Yeah, that was a big thing for someone like Ride. Literally got nicknamed like Degen Warlord because he would like start stream at 2 a.m. and would have like 70 viewers because of all the people who just like stayed up through the night.
Yep. You know, you pull the degens, you pull the raids, you pull the hosts, whatever else, and like if your body will accommodate you for it, then more power to you, right? And so like you look at a situation like that, and like you can take inspiration from a situation like that. Be like, okay, you know, his hustle is such that he was like, you know what? If I'm going to be degenerate, I'm going to max out on my degeneracy.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do it this way. So like, that's the kind of stuff that like, when I think about like inspiration and whatnot, oh my God, 5L, you're sicko.
Why not? You know, we're 0 on block. Let's see. Let's start the scramble.
Nah,
Yeah,
no scramble. There's no scramble. There's only Miracle Volleyball. That is what happens. It's not double Nova Strike, so I can't say shit. But
yeah.
I'm never gonna live down double Nova Strike. You have to erase this entire VOD.
Yeah, I'll have to like cut the footage there and see what happens.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That humiliation immediately. That was so good. But yeah, so it's like I wouldn't say that I take inspiration specifically from some folks. I think it's just really important to understand that like we are truly a community, and there can be inspiration taken from any number of people.
Oh, dude, why do I keep reflecting there? I keep reflecting there. It's so bad. I think that's really great. I don't know why, but in the last few days, even like, you know, we're recording this on August 30th. I've been seeing a lot of people saying like, we're not a community, we're too competitive, nobody wants to help each other. I've been seeing this a lot in the last like 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep getting smoked by that. Just keep doing it. Go ahead. I'll learn at some point. You know, and I think at certain aspects we do fail, but like, you know, no community is perfect, stuff like that. But we are a community. A lot of people, I see people hanging out who are creators in everybody's chat. Like, you know, even from small to big, everybody is just very intertwined. And like, you don't see that everywhere, which is the one nice thing with the Dragon Ball community, or you know, even the fighting game community in general. But that's really nice to say. Where you're basically saying like, inspiration is everywhere. You just have to pull it from, you know. Not the source, but you can pull it from those around you. Whether it be people who don't even create, but like people can inspire you to create from, you know, the most random of things. I love that.
You know, it's Twitch is ever evolving, and there's so many people. You know, I think that like I had asked a question in my stream once, and I said, how many channels do you actually watch on Twitch? Not how many channels you follow. How many channels do you watch on Twitch? The average answer was 5, and I was like, you are all missing out on so many great creators, because you have, it's kind of like I equated it to like a television audience, right? It's just like somebody pays for cable or somebody pays for satellite, and you have 2,000 channels, and all you do is watch Fox, ESPN, fill in like 5 channels. You know what I mean? Because like everybody's got their comfort zone, but they could be missing out on all these amazing shows. And in the same token, it goes with Twitch. It's like there's so many great creators out there. You know, like when you look at like it always blows my mind. So let's take a look at like Iceberg, okay? And I'm not dogging Iceberg whatsoever. Iceberg is an extraordinary talent, and he's really, really good. He gets like 15 concurrent viewers. I'm like, how is this possible?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why Iceberg would? Oh my God, Nova Strike.
Dude, I'm a Nova Strike god, apparently.
Apparently, the best. I gotta mind that meter. I'm like, why does it happen the way that he does? But the truth of the matter is, it's like when you look at like Iceberg, he is a really, really good player. That's not going to work. See, now I get to do reverse super.
What goes around comes around, right?
Yeah, but it's like, so you look at Iceberg, and he's really talented, but like his exposure, and I would guarantee you this, why would I do that? I'm the worst. His exposure as his brand continues to expand isn't coming from his own work. It's coming from tournaments that he's entered on other channels, and in turn you have a trickle effect as opposed to like a giant gush of water. You're getting this trickle effect instead, because he's only garnering the, you know, if somebody's watching your channel and there's 70 people watching, and somebody goes, oh, Iceberg won this thing, I wonder how many people are going to watch this, or how many people want to like follow it up. Out of the 70 people, realistic numbers are probably going to be about 4 are going to actually like go to his channel or are going to follow up after the fact, right? And like that could be entirely different if he was like regularly promoted, you know what I mean? So an extraordinary talent like himself, the vast majority of the audience are missing out. Like if like one of these days, like he had a 1st to 10 with Cloud and won the set, you know what I mean? I'm just like hypothesizing here. Right. Let's say he wins the set. Cloud's got an audience of like whatever, let's say 700 concurrents, right? If he wins the set, he's an instant celebrity because everyone knows who is Iceberg, right? And so, and you would grasp this, like the concept of like celebrity status in the FGC is really, really prominent. So it's like, if you win a major, or if you beat somebody who's a major figure within the FGC, you automatically ascend, pun intended, Dragon Ball, you know? And so like, if you win the set with Cloud, all of a sudden you're pulling 40 concurrents as opposed to 15, or like anything along those lines. Like these are like where the elevation comes from, but you have to be able to like open the door to make that happen. And so like all these people are missing out. Don't do that. All these people are missing out because the content creator, as talented as they are, nice as they are, engaging as they are, aren't doing much in order to. His hand is so fucking huge. My God, aren't doing much to like get themselves out there. So like the platform as a whole actually suffers because more viewers. I was about to say more readers, but more viewers are not actually able to see out of like their own bubble. Oh my God, that's interesting. I don't know why that worked.
That's a pure reflect bait.
Yeah.
But if you do reflect that key blast, you're getting smoked for that.
Well, there's no pushback on it, right? So that makes sense. But I think the key blast is +1. I don't know how I got a normal in there.
I'm out of here. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like I mean, we've seen it before with like Mamba Lamba came out of nowhere. Beats, wins City of Mayhem like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And like starts a stream from it, and he's so smart to do that like as soon as he won the tournaments, he's like literally as soon as he won those nights, he would start stream right away.
Yep.
Because then Bum's like, oh, I'm gonna host Mamba. He just won. A lot of people who do that. Like if someone who was streaming my tournament, if they won, I'd host them. That's just weird common practice, but that's just how that is. I think that's so smart. Like that is just so genius that he does that. And I think that celebrity title is so extra real, especially now with like mostly we have only online tournaments. So dudes entering tournaments under the name Corn Muffin. He's like the most elusive man.
Yeah.
Winning tournaments, and people are like, "Yo, who is Corn Muffin?" I don't think they figured out who that was, by the way. They thought it was Neasy, but apparently it wasn't.
I thought it was Cloud for some reason. I have to think that over, because like Cloud changes his casual's name all the time. Was he like Godly?
He got second at City of Mayhem, and he was like a 17 Jiren player. And people were like, "Yo, who is this? Who is this Jiren?" And he was doing some crazy stuff, man. He was doing.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of highlights for Jiren, and all these people were like losing their minds. Interesting. Good setup. 6M backdash that DR. I might steal that. Actually, I probably will steal that. But yeah, it's like you have to be able to like seize opportunity when you have it, right? Both as a creator, but also as somebody who's contributing to a greater whole. If Bum posts a clip, that clip is getting crazy exposure. In turn, people want to find out who. Oh, I tried to use the option select. I don't know why that didn't work. In turn, people want to find out who this player is. If the person capitalizes, if the creator capitalizes on it, then that is another channel where more people are coming to watch the creator, they're coming to play the game, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. And it's like it benefits the community as a whole, both as a Dragon Ball community and as a Twitch community.
Yep. And they work ever so hand in hand. Like,
yep.
Like who knows what the FGC would be right now without like Switch? Crazy to think about.
Oh yeah. Like it was literally, pun intended, like game changer, and and now it's just a matter. Ooh, that was a really bad move on my part, but I got lucky. I should never be dashing out of a blocked sparking blast. Bad fundamentals.
It happens to all of us. It's okay. You're talking while you're playing, which also, by the way, for people who are wondering, I think it's very funny when a lot of people start streaming. They're like, "Dude, how do you talk and play so often? It's so hard to do." I'm like, man, you just get used to it. If you get smoked by something and chat little W's, you gotta hold that.
Yep.
You gotta hold that little W. I was waiting for it. I tried to set that up, but I did it wrong. We're somehow this did. Wow, I got smoked. We somehow got to. I didn't actually think this would take so long, but I actually love that this was such a long form thing because one, don't make very long form content, and two, this is. Like I said before, there is so much knowledge and and great talks going on here. And it was really a pleasure to have you already. And I just want to ask for you now. Do you have any goals coming up in the future that you want to talk about or push or anything like that?
As a creator,
or even as a player, anything in life,
As a player, no. I'm 40 years old. Okay, so
damn,
as a player, I really enjoy what I'm doing right now in the sense that I'm getting better. but not to the point where I have like aspirations of like winning majors and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't really like set a goal in like that regard. The goal is like a general term in the sense that I want to just like become better as a player because that's what I've always wanted. As a content creator, it's a little bit different. It's just like, I mean, like the generic answer is that I want to make partner, right? Everybody wants to make partner on Twitch.
Yeah.
But
what a thing it is to be.
Partner is ever changing as the platform continues to get more saturated.
Yeah, I have a very strong feeling that's going to change in the future too, like the requirements. I don't know.
Ooh, that combos. Okay.
But yeah, as you were saying.
I mean, like, I think like my biggest goal, honestly, and it may sound like a generic answer, but it's the truth of the matter, is to keep expanding the scene that I've been working on like half my life. You know, it's like the FGC has a special place in my heart, which kind of like splits it now because like I've met so many good people, and so like my goal more often than not, like it's like I don't know if you like pay attention to things like on Discord. Discord's like, oh, we're like reopening partnership, and we're doing this, and we're doing that. And one of the reasons why I found that so fascinating is because like they opened up like back end metrics on Discords, so I was able to see like what channels are active, what's not active, demographics, you know, gender.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's like you have to like turn up a switch on your Discord, and it'll open up a ton of new options for you. And so when I looked at it, one of the things I looked at was like, okay, how can I make my Discord better in the sense like how can I expand this community? So not just for myself, but for other people that are in here, like they are making friends, you know, so I want to be able to help them like make more friends, you know, so like how do I go about doing this? Catch him? Got it.
I held left-right hitbox player, dude. Like left-right equals neutral.
So I kind of just like look at it and just like, okay, like when I had a sit down with my moderators, I'm like, my goal for the rest of the year, now they understand how the metrics work for Discord, is to expand this community to 1,000 people. So there's like 700 people in my Discord right now.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that's that many. That's huge.
Yeah, and it's like a lot of them absolutely like the truth of the matter is the vast majority of my regular community absolutely give no F's about Dragon Ball. They were in there because they originally found me for Dragon Ball, and then they're like, oh, you know, I met this person or I met these people and I have a really good time. And so like they flesh out things like some of them are into art, or some of them are into food, or some of them just want to like post brags about their new pet, you know. But it's like that's like what community is. Like everybody has like different interests. It's just a matter of like how you go about, you know, growing those interests.
Scared of the Nova Strike there?
Yeah, I was. I'm not gonna lie. I stopped cold. I'm like, I might steal my turn and then get 2 clips instead of 1. And so I'm like, I'm gonna pause and see how this goes. But yeah, so it's this guy. I went to my moderators and I said I want 2 things by the end of this year. I want 1,000 total people, and I want women to represent, or should say women or people identifying as women, as 10% of the active participation rate in the Discord by the end of the year. And they're like, that's super specific. I'm like, well, that's how goals work. You know, right. So it's like I spend a lot of time like talking with the women that are already in my Discord. Be like, hey, what's going on? How can I help you? What can I do for you? What do you feel that you need in terms of like a safe space, things like that? And so like I sat down and I had like meetings with women in my community, and I was like, okay,
that's actually awesome.
You know, how can we go about this? How can I create an environment where you feel not only that you are safe here, but that you would feel recommending this community as a safe place as well, because like word of mouth is everything. And so we went through a lot of different stuff, and I'm seeing the changes like already after the initiative started about a month ago, and we can already see the changes both in terms of people who come through the Discord and for people who are joining the channel in terms of like those either as women or identifying as women. And I'm like, okay, you know, this is working. And like in turn, the community is being fleshed out even further than, you know, males aged, you know, 14 to 30 who are playing Dragon Ball. Like there's so much more out there, you know. And so like I think that's probably my biggest goal, is raising up this community as a whole in terms of diversification more than anything else, because like, and I'm doing it through Discord, not through Twitch. because I feel like Discord is a platform where they don't need to necessarily focus on me as a creator. They get to focus on themselves and how they can interact with other people. So I was just like, okay, work through the Discord, and then they'll see when I'm live. If they want to come through, that's great. If they don't want to come through, that's great as well. But they've also met other people, and so my community is growing as a result. Get off me. So the community itself, in the greater sense, gets to expand. And that's what it's all about. So that's my goal right now: 1,000 people on Discord and a 10% participation rate. Is that going to work? 10% participation rate for those identifying as female by the end of the year.
I actually really love that because not super focused. I mean, your Twitch channel is for the most part focused in gaming, and you have a lot of gaming culture. But women in those kinds of spaces usually are either misrepresented or not represented at all, and that's a really, really awesome thing for you to do to I can't believe I do that again. For you to make the participation up. You want to create an environment that people feel safe, and I honestly love that you said that. That's a lot of people don't do that, and you're taking the time to build a community the correct way. Not just build a community, but you want to build a community that's worth it.
Yeah. And because one of the things that a lot of people don't recognize, because they think that only men play video games, and just let me tell you something, because I will look at sales figures all the time, is that the buying patterns for men versus women is only 52-48. The participation rate in terms of competitive or active rate is 90-10. It's actually worse than 90-10. It's something like 93-7. Whoa, in terms of from the studies that I've seen. I'm that's pretty screwed up. If half your audience is only willing to put themselves out there to play with other people 7% of the time, while representing half the actual buyers, there's a huge problem.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Really a problem. And I don't want to muddle it down with the if, ands, or whys of why the situation's like this. Man, I have got to stop doing that. You go over the top every single time you connect with Six.
Some magic right there. Some magic mix-up. Once in a blue moon one.
2, 3, 4. Gotcha. Oh, I dropped it.
Now we're getting scary.
Yeah, there you go. Now I can start talking again. So there's clearly a gap, and so I look back and I'm just I know that what having a diverse community means, both as an online, oh, you're so smart. Both as an offline tournament organizer. Ooh, why did
that was so scary. I didn't even mean to do that, but it came out.
I play so bad sometimes. When I look at a situation like that, it's because I'll tell people on stream, it's if you see somebody with 2H, right? They only have so many options, and the timing to punish all those options is the same because it's 2H. Just you wait for the vanish, you wait for the super dash, or you wait for, in Blue Q's case, a TKK, the teleport kick. All of them have the same timing. All you have to do is be patient enough to wait for it, and that's exactly what happened there. I'm God dang it.
Yeah, I hate that when you see the punish right in front of you, and you just flub it, and you're I know I should have had that one. That's very upsetting right there. But it's all good. I do love what you were saying though about the 10%. But that is so crazy. But I want to say that's more common knowledge that women have a lower participation rate in gaming and such avenues. But people don't think that for some weird reason.
No.
I don't know what it is, but people just kind of just ignore it for some weird reason.
That's exactly it. It's not a priority. That's why. It's not considered to be a priority for most, so they're not willing to put in the effort in order to change the culture.
Right.
So that's why you run into that situation where you're just there are people who they would just rather live in blissful ignorance. I'm gonna play my game. I'm gonna make my friends. If this girl, this woman, or this person who identifies as such doesn't play, that's no skin off my back because I get to enjoy myself the exact same way regardless.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get prioritized. So no changes are affected within the culture. But it's if you're trying to build your community, then it's an entirely different story because now you're in a situation where you're just okay, hey, how can I build up this place as a whole? Do I want my town so to speak, get off me. Do I want my town, so to speak, to be only a certain way, not just necessarily guys, but like, do I want them to be a certain way or not? And it's just like, no, there's so many more people in the real world that represent all kinds of different interests and all kinds of like different takes on things. Why would I want to pigeonhole myself by not? Is this gonna work? I don't know how to use Ultimate Z change for this character. Oh fuck my life. Okay. Why would I want to pigeonhole myself by not reaching out and building a more diverse and fulfilling community? You know, so like that's the way I looked at it. And it's like, well, got to make changes. Let's go. And so, talk with the mods, make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I respect that a lot, like a ton. I really, you don't see many creators, especially, you know, you said like, you know, not a lot of people watch for Dragon Ball, but like they're there because it started from that. But like, you know, just to create that space within this community is, I don't want to say unheard of, because it definitely does exist, but sometimes unnoticed.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I for one definitely appreciate that. We're definitely rolling down to probably the final match. I don't know if you realized it, but we've actually been recording for almost 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah, it's 3:50. I just realized that.
That's awesome.
Now. But you know, it's been a pleasure. It's been really fun. I actually really like how, you know, we did break off on some tangents here and there, but it was good chats all around. You know, we'll finish up this game, and then I'll definitely we'll give you a chance to plug your socials, because, you know, especially that Discord, we want to plug that. It comes down to the DP and the same stagger I kept doing for some reason.
It's like, it's funny how like this game works, and like it's like, I have like Street Fighter backgrounds, right? So everything is just like, oh, do I have a frame one reversal? Fantastic. Where's my gap? I'm gonna shoot the shot every single time until you're adequately punished. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's your spot. I want to say, one, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to talk about so many different aspects of, you know, the scene, whether it's, you know, the upfront facing, back facing, the media side, and everything in between. We've honestly talked about so much, and, you know, we said it before, but I'll say it again because we're at the end. If you pull up here, if you're a player or a creator or someone who wants to create or anything of that sort, there's a lot of good information here, and I'm sure you could ask either myself or Nagata any questions to go deeper into any of these topics on either of our sides. But let's give you a moment here to plug all your socials, and they'll be on screen right now.
For sure. So if you are looking for me anywhere, and we're going to give you like one last lesson right here, try to unify your socials right across the board. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Discord, all under NagataLockII. So like twitter.com/NagataLockII and ad nauseum, right across the board. If you're ever looking to get a hold of me live, you can find me on twitch.tv/NagataLockII every Monday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And yes, as I was pointed out earlier, we are ever growing in the Discord. Please come on through. I will be upfront in saying I'm a person who is thoroughly encouraging positive contributions. I'll tell you a quick story before we wrap up here, because I was talking with tGrass about this before we started. Somebody came into my Discord specifically to troll somebody with footage from a match in casuals. To like put that in perspective, I'm not necessarily looking for that kind of person up in my house. You know what I mean? So like if this is like your, you know, if this is what gets your rocks off, taping your casual matches so that you could dump them in somebody else's Discord, please do not come through. Otherwise, please feel free, join us, whether you're a Dragon Ball player, you're just looking to play any number of other games. For some reason, Final Fantasy 14 has exploded in my community of late. But there's always, you know, people to talk to and hang out with. So I hope to see you soon.
All right, guys, we're going to be peacing out from here. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way through, if you can, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're really trying to push for that 500 YouTube subscriptions by the end of the year. I believe in us. I think we can do it. I do really appreciate all the love on this. And drop a comment if you had a favorite topic that we talked about today. I am tGrass. This was NagataLock. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.